Good morning everyone, welcome back to the Hearthstone ladder. My name is Rooster and today we are playing Zoo Warlock with a bit of a change compared to the last few times. I don't recall the last time I was playing Zoo, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the Sea Giantly or Jenkins decks. And lately people have been favoring going back to the old Zoo build with the Doomguards, which is rather surprisingly, but since the meta has sped up by just a little bit, control decks have been struggling in the past few days, in the past few weeks even, I guess. And therefore the amount of burst at the end is not really needed. And people have been letting that go in favor of the more powerful, but also less bursty Doomguard. I think I am entirely okay with this. Sure. I wonder what kind of Paladin this would be. It's a rank 3 Paladin also, so there's something to consider definitely. But I think I'll just go for the Voidwalker start, and it might still be pretty good with the Direwolf after that. So the idea, as usual with Zoo, is playing a lot of small stuff and leveraging that board position to your advantage. I'm going for the Flame Juggler here, mostly because the Direwolf doesn't really add anything. The chance to kill this off, plus the Flame Juggler actually surviving a future Consecrate, which is important.
My work is paramount.
Oh, we're up against a dragon type of Paladin build. Alright, well, we'll see how we can deal with that. We could play the Direwolf and clear, which is not entirely awful, but we could also wait for him to hit into us first, although a Consecrate might screw us over a little bit. In that case, I might just play the Imking Boss, wait for him to trade, and then our trade is not really looking that good, but I guess the Imking Boss can help with that, sure. I'm fine with going face here. Usually as a Zoo you want to remove your opponent's minions as often and as diligently as possible. But sometimes that might just be way too inconvenient. As is in this case, it would require me to play the Direwolf, trade both of my minions in, and then play a 1-drop, which makes my board a lot weaker than it is right now, because he's only really able to send his minion into the Voidwalker, which is not particularly great for him. So he could, of course... Oh, that's an interesting card. I'm thinking we're up against Reno here. That might actually be a thing. In that case, I still kinda like the Direwolf here. Although it's about time we start leveraging our coin also. So I always want to make this trade, I think. With the Direwolf into... with the Imking Boss into that thing. And I think we're going face with the rest, although how vulnerable are we if he Consecrates here? Kinda wants me, kinda makes me want to just tap here and not overextend. I think that's going to be to our benefit. Dark Iron Dwarf could be pretty good next turn. I could coin out a Possessed Villager, not sure that's going to do us a whole lot of good. I'll leave that for later. Earthen Ring Farseer, definitely not a card you would expect in most Paladin decks. Yeah, so the Blacklink Taxation just too awkward to get rid of right now. Let's see what he has. Of course, since he is a dragon type deck, then that is definitely a card you should expect. Actually, yeah. Power Overwhelming, not too awful here. We've also got the option... I think I'll take the Direwolf plus Power Overwhelming trade. That still leaves us a 4-4 on board. A little weak to True Silver, but I think last turn would have been a decent True Silver turn, so I don't feel too terrible about that. Maybe not necessary to trade into the the Tactician? I don't know about that. Might actually not be necessary. I think I'm fine with just playing the Possessed Villager here. Consecrate still doesn't clear. We've still got this coin, but I don't feel like I've got a good opportunity to use it here. I think this is useful. There hasn't been an opportunity that I really found myself needing to use the coin here. That might be wrong. I could have built up a slightly stronger board position, but I don't think coining out a Dark Peddler is particularly menacing. Although, would there have been a situation in which Consecrate would have been correct for him? I don't know. So he gets to make a trade that we would have made ourselves regardless. Well, no, that's not entirely true. We would have used the Power Overwhelming there, but that's probably fine with me. Let's tap. You gotta keep tapping to get your card advantage going, and that's actually a little awkward. Let's see if we can get some Dark Peddler value here. I would like a Mortal Coil or something. Reliquary Seeker might work for us, although Argent Squire might also be decent. I think we'll go for the Reliquary Seeker. Can we flood the board right now? We actually can. If we play Flame Imp and then Void Walker and then coin into the Reliquary Seeker, and that would be okay. If not for the fact that we cannot deal with that right now, we could trade both of the ones in. I guess I would be okay with that. It's actually pretty strong right now, so I don't hate it. Oh, that is not the card. What did I just do? Oh, okay. I saw the damage going to face. And I was like, wait, what did I misclick? But I didn't misclick anything. It's okay. It was the damage from the Flame Imp going to face. I was like, wait, what? What just happened? Yeah, the 5/5 is pretty strong. And the Void Walker prevents the 5/5 from getting any meaningful trades in, so saving the Power Overwhelming to potentially deal lethal next turn if he doesn't have anything particularly great. So yeah, I feel pretty good about that. He pretty much has to use a Consecration is not awful. We still have some pretty good minions left over. Holy Light. That has to be a Reno-ish deck, right? I can't imagine that being anything but a Reno deck. Let's see, we have 9, but he healed up to 24, alright. So, Forbidden Ritual doesn't seem awful, and we can even get in a Dark Peddler, I guess, or perhaps a tap. Oh, tap into... yeah, it doesn't feel awful. And I think we'll even trade, just to prevent him from trading into the 5/3. Using the tentacles right after your opponent has used the board clear always feels pretty good. He could have some kind of Pyromancer, but that's going to get his value anyway. And if he has to use that on turn 8, then I think I'm pretty satisfied with that, regardless. If we want to use the Power Overwhelming plus Doomguard, ooh, we have 10, we have lethal, okay. Exactly though. Alright. So as long as you have a minion to use the Power Overwhelming on, then the Doomguard is not that awkward. But if you want to use it purely on an empty board, then that can feel a little bad. That was a really interesting deck my opponent played there. I certainly did not expect to face a Dragon Paladin, of all things. Didn't see any duplicates, so I still suspect it might be a Reno deck. Especially with the odd inclusion of the Holy Light and the Earthenring Farseer. Not sure what to think of that. Maybe just a budget control Paladin or something. I don't know. He seemed to be doing pretty well with it if he was rank 3. Although, I suppose people like me are switching decks all the time, so it's not going to be that consistent. Let me think. Against the Rogue, I don't really care too much. Well, I do want my 1-drops. That's the most important thing. So I might just throw everything away to get a 1-drop. Maybe I actually should. When you go in second, you don't really need it. I guess I can go for a 2 and a 2. And we'll probably get some 1-drops because, well, that's what the deck is known for, right? Almost half our deck costs 1. Coining the Juggler doesn't seem like a particularly great idea. We could go for the Possessed Villager, but I think I can squeeze it in somewhere later. Getting the Flame Juggler right now, I think, just because it's more likely to survive against whatever he's putting out, and that's always helpful. Okay, well, I guess that works. Would be a little awkward if she had another backstab. I guess I would be okay with that. Let's play Peddler. Discover something. Mortal Coil would be awful. Voidwalker does its job against Rogue also. That's probably going to be okay. She can still dagger up to kill this. Oh, alright, that's interesting. I am tempted to go with the Knife Juggler plus Voidwalker right now, especially since we have another Knife Juggler. I think that would be a decent choice. It's likely to kill something, and she's unlikely to get a very good trade against the Voidwalker. Oh, and that's the optimal result, I think. She's unlikely to have a lot more spell power. Mostly the backstab and perhaps eviscerate, but that's not that important right now.
Thank you.
So that's fine. Doing decently here. Should we go for another Knife Juggler? We could actually swap the Voidwalker into a 3-1, which is pretty good. We'll go for the double Knife Juggler here, and then probably the Crazed Alchemist actually. That is a little awkward. Do we really... we could go for a double 1-drop, but then that doesn't work anymore. I kinda don't want to do that right now. We can just leave it alone, right? I guess we can leave it alone. Just flood here... just flooding is probably fine.
Get it out! Get it out!
That's kind of a shame, but we... oh, we do get the double juggle. Well, it would have failed, so... I can't base my decision on whether that was correct or not on the result, of course, but yeah, sure. I am kind of glad I didn't go for the Crazed Alchemist after all. The correct way to go about that would be to play the double 1-drop into Crazed Alchemist, I guess, which would have been more reliable than the double Knife Juggler, I think. That would have gotten us 2 jugglers before making our decision. 2 juggles, so that's 2 times a 1 in 3. That's actually decent. More than half, more than 50% chance to actually make that, so that's pretty good. Shadow Strike and Knife Juggler, that's pretty good for us. And that means that probably that one is attacking into the other thing. Alright. We'll be able to leverage this advantage, I think. Don't feel too great about using the Argus here, but I guess it's still what we have to do, right? I pretty much want to get rid of that Tomb Pillager. And we're not guaranteed to tap into anything useful. So sure, I will. In that case, I think I want to taunt up the Voidwalker and not the Flame Imp. I'll give up 1 damage for that. So just making this trade. Flame Imp goes face. You could say I missed 1 damage there. I would say getting a more powerful taunt is more beneficial. And if she wants to sap the Voidwalker again, then that's entirely okay with me. And meanwhile, sapping a Flame Imp would actually kinda suck. Would also take a lot more damage off the board. Spreading out is good unless it plays into Fan of Knives, which we don't right now. She's already used the... you don't see that card often anymore. What does that mean about the deck she's playing? Might be some kind of Reno deck then. Reno Rogue would play Sprint, I think, because they can only play one Auctioneer. A more miracle style of... I'm thinking everyone is Reno. I probably shouldn't assume, because you know what happens when you assume. Going for Blood Imp doesn't seem awful, but I think I prefer the extra taunt. Don't have to play it right now though. I think, well, we should probably leverage our advantage here and just make 2 extra 1/1s. I think I prefer the extra White Walker. I'm not really paying any attention to my positioning, and I probably should be. If I would draw a Dark Iron, no, a Direwolf Alpha here, I would like to first trade away my small minions, so the Peddler should have probably gone in the middle.
We're gonna be rich.
No, so I wasn't wrong in assuming that was a Reno deck. That does buy her an awful lot of time, though. I guess we are tapping again. Oh, and I don't like that too much right now. What do we want to trade into the Reno? We could swap a Voidwalker into a 4/2. We could swap the Reno actually, and trade in the Flame Imp in a 1/1. I don't hate that. Could also be a Doomsayer in her deck though, although as long as we have a decent board position I don't feel too worried about that. Means we cannot actually. So if we swap one of these, I guess we could trade in these two then. I kinda like getting this guy out on the board. So I guess I will trade these. Place this in the middle too, swap this one. I value getting the buff out on the on this one over the 3/2 on the board, I think. And having these taunts is going to make things pretty awkward for her, because she would have likely had the opportunity to weapon up and kill a 1/1 if it weren't for the Voidwalkers standing in the way. So I like the situation we're in. I don't like that Thorazan on the board. That's actually mildly worrying. We may want to be careful with tapping actually. Mostly because getting double Doomguard out into our hand is going to be kinda sucky. We could actually Doomguard here. Wouldn't feel too horrible about that. I think I rather like that, just to push the advantage here. I don't hate losing those cards at all. No, not at all. I will trade one of the 2/2s in just to have some room on the board. Because we're actually dealing quite a meaningful amount of damage right now. Could have dealt 7 more damage, but then she would have another turn of Emperor, which I guess, well, mostly the problem is that she would have a 5/5 on the board. And as long as Zoo has minions out on the board, then Zoo gets to make the decisions on where the trades go, which is definitely a position you want to find yourself in. How are we in the way of death rattles? The Rogue hasn't really played any. None. Well, except for the Undercity Huckster and the Tomb Pillager, I guess. What would this be? Oh, of course, yes, we did see a Cthulhu buffing minion. So that one kills the Doomguard, alright, so that means we have 9 damage on the board. That means 10, 11, 12. So we could easily tap into lethal here. That is not, however. Let me quickly think. That is 3, 5, 5 and 4 equals 9. We can play both of those, so that's 11. That is lethal. Alright, that's lethal. Right. there we go. And that is why it's dangerous to leave a councilman on the board. So yeah, all we needed was any minion that dealt 2 damage, or perhaps even just 1 damage, because if that would allow us to play 2 minions, then that would buff the councilman by 2. So yeah, Reno Rogue, not very consistent, I'm afraid, especially not Reno Cthulhu Rogue. Although that might mean there's no N'Zoth involved, but I do think that that brings down the power level of the deck somewhat. I think some kind of Reno N'Zoth Rogue would be more effective than a Reno Cthulhu Rogue. Most of the time Cthulhu Rogues would only really use a Blade of Cthulhu and not much else. I don't want to keep Direwolf Alpha against the Rogue. You can't keep on having your minions on the board. I would much prefer something like a Flame Juggler or Dark Battler. I will keep the Abusive Sergeant because it helps trading up, as well as having something to do on the first turn is actually quite valuable. Rogue passes the first turn. I think that means we are playing a Flame Imp here. She could have a backstab, but at least she uses the backstab in that case, so I would still be okay with that. Places an Ooze, alright. The Ooze is going to trade into the Flame Imp, but I would be okay with that. We could go for a Knife Juggler. Actually, if the Ooze trades into a Knife Juggler, then I am fine with that. Could go for a Knife Juggler, Coin, Abusive Sergeant. Might not even do that much. We don't really have a lot of better options, and grabbing the board I think is kind of important, so at least the Sergeant will inflict some extra face damage. I was hoping that Knife to go face, so that's pretty good. Likely gets rid of the Knife Juggler and possibly also the Flame Imp, but that's just the way it is. If she has Backstab plus SI7, we don't have a board anymore, but at least the Ooze pretty much always has to die, so that's good. Has a backstab. Not ideal, but still okay. We can... actually, we don't have that much to play next turn, unfortunately. Is that a good draw? It's good enough. We could also go for Forbidden Ritual for 3. Let me think about that. It's bad against Fan of Knives, but it at least gives us some kind of board presence, if she does not, and if she does, then it will cost her an entire turn, so yeah, I think this is actually our best option right now. It looks a little awkward against the Rogue, especially with the dagger out, but it's the way that that puts the most minions on the field. So the Fan of Knives, yeah, while it may look good, it does not look good. The animation's still borked. I'm not sure what's going on there. We could Flame Juggler. I kind of want to play the Voidwalker here, because the dagger is not going to do a whole lot with that out, but that kind of wastes the Abusive. We could go for Flame Juggler and tap. I guess I don't feel too bad about that, although next turn we might want to play Doomguard and then start tapping afterwards. Don't feel too terrible about that either. I think I'll just go for the Abusive. It's unlikely that she'll have another Fan of Knives, and even then it's not that great on this board, so yeah, I think I'm fine with this. Most likely playing the Doomguard next turn, unless I get a really good option. I'm not sure what that would be, to be fair. Perhaps something that combines with a tap like an Imp Gang Boss. Perhaps I would play an Imp Gang Boss, because that allows me to tap along with it. That's pretty reasonable on the board. Also, kind of a good thing about the Doomguard is that a Rogue really doesn't want to sap it. Because it just comes out charging again. Ooh, sap on the Voidwalker again. It's not the worst. It's not the worst, definitely not.
This guy's toast.
Does not allow the clear, but I'm having some trouble getting minions to stick. She is taking a lot of damage though, so I'll give her that. You can Voidwalker, Direwolf, and tap. How do I like that? Allows me to trade into this, and then I have a 2-3 and a 2-2 on the board. I can still Doomguard next turn, and I don't discard anything if I draw a 1-drop. I think I like that idea. I should have, of course, tapped first. That wouldn't have made a difference in the course of my turn, and I guess I should have. No, this is actually good in case of Imgang Boss, because the Imgang Boss now goes left,
I have no time for
and that's mostly how you want to place your minions in this case. I guess this means we're tapping again. Or are we just... Well, we are just going face, we're not trading into that thing. Unless we get something... I guess we can just flood, right? I don't hate flooding. So this goes here, we attack, and the possessed villager goes here. Always feels kind of bad trading into a Sylvanas, but I think it's just what we have to do right now. We're making a pretty good case for having lethal next turn with enough power overwhelmings in our hand. So,
Ready to learn.
Is that better than eviscerating your own Sylvanas here? I guess it is, because that does get rid of a 5/4 on the board also. Let me think. We could Direwolf and Doomguard. That means we have 6 right now. Direwolf would add only 1 damage, unfortunately. I guess it would add 2 if I place it to the left and then Doomguard out. So let's assume it does 2. Then we have 8. We have 13 damage. It's not enough. So I guess in that case that means we're trading. So we could trade both of these into here, and with the Direwolf that would still be pretty good, right? Yeah. But that means I'm not Doomguarding. I would be okay with not Doomguarding here, sure. So we're trading these into the Violet Teacher, because I am actually pretty scared about that card. And playing this one over to the left. This one attacks this. And this one goes in the middle. Voidwalker blocks the Sylvanas for 1 more turn, so she's unlikely to be able to kill that. And then... Well, we're not really adding any damage on the board, unfortunately. Let's see what she has. Kills one of the Direwolves with an Eviscerate. But I think she doesn't have anything else in that case. Alright, so I guess this is Doomguard time. In that case, we are trading into the Gadgets, and that's probably okay. She gets to smash into the Doomguard. We could trade into Sylvanas, but that would leave us... Oh no, that's actually fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not fine. Because that leaves us unable... Yeah, I mean, we could smash into the Doomguard, but she would still steal a minion. Which I don't particularly like. But getting rid of the Sylvanas if I'm playing these minions, I guess, is beneficial. Although we kinda can't. That's unfortunate. We can't get rid of all of this unless we tap into something useful. I don't fancy our chances with that. We could just go face, you know? No, I think that's impossible. We have to get rid of this. So I guess in that case we do just flood. Sure. And this goes face. It does mean that she's unable to use her face to clear the Direwolf, basically. Could smash into the Imp Gang boss, I guess, but that's not particularly great. I guess you just go for the big thing here. If she steals the Doomguard, that's yeah, that was unlikely. That was most unlikely, but it happened anyway. We can still win this. It's no problem. But that was really inconvenient. That was really bad for us. Yeah. So what would be the way to win this? Can we even play that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so bad. Yeah, that's one way to win from Zoo. That was a risk we took, though. We willingly took that risk, and it was a 1 in 4, so most of the time it would have went fine. I think we're just going face. I don't think we're winning this in the long game anymore. It's not a board for clearing, so let's just force her to keep clearing our minions. If she has a spell power Fan of Knives, then we're pretty much dead, right? Yeah. That's just gonna be the way it is. Oh my... Please don't. Okay, that's not a spell power Fan of Knives, so that's good, I guess. But we are still in a pretty dire spot right here. Okay, attacks the 2-3, I guess, and then Shadow strikes the 3-2. So what do we need here? We need another Doomguard, and then tap into a power overwhelming, basically. Well, that's one way to do it. That's dirty! Oh my gosh. I called it too, that's the worst thing. Oh my gosh, that's disgusting. Well, I guess I can get a little lucky if she can get a little lucky, don't we? I'm sorry you had to witness that. That must have been triggering. Alright. Hunters are not particularly great. As long as we can flood early, I think we're okay, but Hunters generally... we shouldn't have kept the Knife Juggler. We really shouldn't have kept the Knife Juggler, that was a mistake. I should be thinking more before I act. Because passing on turn 1 as a Zoo Log is actually really bad, especially against a class that does not have a clear way to deal with 1 health minions. Oh, but at least he also passes, so all is well in the world. All is well in the world again. Knife Juggler actually pretty good here. He would have to coin out an Eaglehorn Bomb or a Quick Shot it, indeed. And either of those situations, especially this one, is pretty good for us. Could run this into a Deadly Shot, that would be kind of unfortunate, but at least he's not using it on something more important, so I guess I would be okay with that. Does not win the Joust, so that's also pretty good. We can trade this in... I wouldn't hate that, no. And that means I'm also likely to just Forbidden Ritual, right? Is that correct? It seems really weak to something, but if he unleashes here, then I would be okay with that. I don't even have to play the Direwolf, right? I can just tap. I could have just Forbidden Ritual for 4. That would have made the most sense, actually. I don't hate a Forbidden Ritual for 2, but it feels a little weak. I guess it's still the right play, though. If he wants to unleash here, then I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's not optimal use of a Forbidden Ritual, but getting the amount of minions on the board is actually pretty good. Forces the unleash, which is always going to be good against us. So don't feel too horrible about it, and we still get left with with something on the board. So that's fine. Fine-ish, I guess. We can swap this. If I swap my Imp boss, I get another minion out. I can kill the doggy, which is reasonable. We could Doomguard, but I don't particularly like it. I kind of like the swap, and then I guess Flame Imp is kind of bad if the bat's on the board, though. We can trade into the bat and then double Flame Imp, Direwolf. I guess we're always tapping, right? Doesn't offer too many more options, but I guess we're making this trade and just playing all the 1-drops. I don't like playing Direwolf, or... I guess Direwolf could be okay. Let's play the Direwolf, actually. I kinda hate that. But playing all the 1-drops is also bad, so... I guess I'll just get the Direwolf out. Would have to be exactly Leok for this to be bad, so... I don't feel too horrible about that. What's this? Highmane's fine. Not terribly excited about it, of course, but we could do some work here. Let's see. Probably Doomguard, actually. Is that correct? No, it doesn't seem that way. We can be the more aggressive person here. We can get a pretty sweet trade into it though with the abusive. Don't hate that. And then Doomguard afterwards. I think I like that actually. I think I actually like that. We're going to play the more control-y game here. So let's make this trade, make this trade. And then I guess Doomguard discarding Doomguard. It's gonna happen anyway, so. And discarding the Flame Imp is not terrible. I'm not too excited about taking all that damage anyway, so yeah. What does he have? Second Unleash? I guess we can freely flood the board now, but that's still pretty bad for us. He's got some pretty good answers here, which does not bode well for us. That's a pretty good start for a hunter. Not that common for hunters to play Double Unleash anymore. Mainly because it's so awkward against anything but Zoo Warlock. So I guess we're just mildly unlucky here. We could swap something. It's not terribly exciting, but it's better than nothing, right? Let's just gotta get the minions out on the board. This one to the left, this one making that into a 2/2. It's okay. In case you didn't know, that's how Crazed Alchemist works with temporary buffs. Ooh, that's going face, isn't it? That has to go face. Yeah, that's painful. Oh, and it means everything goes face. Yeah, he hasn't taken any damage yet. That's what I call a bad start. Yeah, that doesn't feel good. Does he have a quick shot in hand? That play doesn't feel correct unless he has a quick shot in hand, but I guess it means we can't tap anymore. So there's that. Do we take the random damage now, or do we take a 50-50? I guess random damage doesn't mean anything if it's not on... If it's not exactly on that thing, so... Might as well make it a 50-50, right? And we're dead. We did a grand total of 1 damage to him. Oh, I call the Wild also kills us, yeah. Double Unleash, not that common. Not playing around the second one, I don't blame myself for that. The first one was fine. Bad start. Made a mistake at the mulligan, and that was definitely a mistake. So I'm chalking this loss up to bad mulligans, a bad start, I guess, and the Double Unleash, which I didn't play around, which I think is correct. So it's always good to evaluate what you could have done better, but I don't feel too horrible about losing that game. And most of the time, Hunter is not particularly great unless you get a good start. Warrior in general is also not particularly great. That's the main 2 bad matchups. I think basically any other deck is pretty good. I guess Priest might be rough at times, but you don't see a lot of Priests. You definitely don't see a lot of Priests. Incoming Boss is an excellent card against Warrior, so I'm definitely happy to see that one. And Possessed Villager is too, surprisingly. So I think I'll start out with Coin Knife Juggler. I'm looking at those 2 Possessed Villagers, and I think I want to Coin Knife Juggler, but that could be really bad against... I guess it's still not horrible if he Fiery War Axes, because then I have 2 Possessed Villagers and an Incoming Boss to follow up, so I guess I'm okay with that. If he plays a Fiery War Axe now, then I guess I'm okay with it, and we can do some damage if he does not. So yeah, I'm mostly fine with this because he doesn't have any other great axe targets in the next 2 turns, so that's pretty great. If he has Ghoul here, Ghoul is still fine. Ghoul is still fine with me. So Axe is really bad against possessed villagers, so that's okay. Does not have a Ghoul. Acolyte is kind of inconvenient. Kind of makes me wonder why he even killed the Knife Juggler in the first place. I don't know about that. We could discover a Soulfire, or perhaps... yeah, Soulfire I would use. Power Overwhelming I would use. Abusive Sergeant I would use. That's good enough. That's good enough. I'll take this. It's kind of important not to let him draw too many cards. So, and using Power Overwhelming on a possessed villager basically means nothing. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. Kind of a rough start, but the main threat in a warrior deck is going to be the not infested ghouls and enraged ghouls. I don't remember. Blood of Brave is also a pretty big card. Kind of makes me want to tap for another Power Overwhelming, or I guess I could. I guess the same applies as last turn, right? So I would use most of those same cards, except I guess Abusive Sergeant, which is the smallest chance. I'm okay with that. Either a Soulfire or I guess a Voidwalker kinda works. It's not incredibly exciting, but we can make it work. We can make this work. It's fine. Positioning's awful here, but I kinda fat-fingered this one. Not trading here. This gives us some options for next turn, and yeah, if I had a Soulfire or a Power Overwhelming, which is a pretty big chance with a Dark Peddler, then that would have been the correct. And it would have been actually pretty great. So what's happening? Alright, I'm trading into the Flame Imp, I guess? I can still grab control of the board next turn, sure. Oh, that's also a good draw. Well, let's see, that lets us trade this in, this in. Let's just keep this one around. Do we really care? There's not really another option. See, that's kind of the problem. No, that's not the problem with positioning last turn. That had nothing to do with it. We could Flame Juggler, actually. But that's worse than playing the Imp King boss, right? Yeah.
Deal.
So this always happens, and we play the Imp King boss, which is pretty good in the position it's in right now. You pretty much want it next to a Dark Iron with nothing to the left of it. Because it spawns the imps right to the right of the Imp King boss, which means the imps get buffed by the Dark Iron, by the... I'm calling the Direwolf Alpha Dark Iron Dwarf all the time. That's really bad. Another Acolyte, alright. Hoping to get something decent from this step here. Not entirely what we're looking for. I guess in that case, I think we're just dropping the Argent Squire and the Flame Juggler and just... yeah, sure. I'll drop the Flame Juggler, and it's going here. Didn't hit, okay. If it hits, do I trade the Imp King boss in? I guess I do. These are all minions you don't want in the middle, but if you have 3 minions that you don't want in the middle, then... I was thinking I already had the Knife Juggler on the field. I'm a little confused. I was waiting for the knife to hit, and then I realized, wait, I don't have a Knife Juggler. These are all pretty annoying minions. I guess the axe could go into the Flame Juggler, or the Imp King boss after the Acolyte trades in. Still going to be fine, I guess. Kind of running low on cards, which is how the game's supposed to go most of the time. So don't feel too bad about that. Ooh, there's a ghoul coming, isn't it? I'm not sure that's... I think that's a mistake. Yeah, because now you're axing Now you're Xing the Imking boss. Oh, you're not Xing it. Oh, okay. I guess it makes sense then, but... yeah, so the ghoul looks pretty good there. I'm not entirely sure that was the correct line of play, but I guess I can't argue with the results, so... Do I Void Walker? The Void Walker does scant little here. I think I'll save it for the Knife Juggler after. Actually, Knife Juggler plus Void Walker might not be awful. I'll do that next turn now. I'll just throw in the 4/4 here, because I do have to do something on the board. And it forces him to make some trades, so it's not too bad. And then the Knife Juggler could do some work with the 1 health stuff on the field. I guess I could have played Knife Juggler Dark Iron. Would be a little optimistic. Ooh, that's not good. I wasn't expecting Patron. Well, that makes the Knife Juggler particularly worthless. I think we just lost the game. Which, by the way, you just did. Just reminding you. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, that Knife Juggler isn't getting played. What could we draw into? I don't know. We don't have any chargers. We don't have any minions we can buff outside of range, I guess. That's not good. No, that's that's an even worse matchup than Tempo Warrior, I guess. Yeah, we basically just lost. If you want to counter Zoo, then Patron Warrior is a pretty safe bet. That is a pretty good matchup for the deck. So yeah, we lost this one. There is no way out here. There is no way out from here. Anyway, that was well played. I can't argue with that. So anyway, results weren't as spectacular as I may have thought beforehand, but the deck still performs. It's not very hard to play, although you do have to think about ordering and positioning and the importance of trading compared to the importance of getting some face damage in. Which I guess are all pretty good skills to have, especially for an aspiring Hearthstone player. So definitely a recommended deck. Decklist is not solid. Not set in stone, I mean. Could definitely see some room for personal preference, but that's up to you. In each case, if you have any suggestions on what deck to play next, please leave a comment below. And as always, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.